Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we are doing a baby poncho, but it's available in 3 sizes. I'm going to be demonstrating the smallest size with you on camera today, and you can substitute with the information that I'm about to give you. So what we have here is it's a 6 month is what I'm going to be doing on camera. 12 to 18 months is available in 2 to 3 years. In the brackets, what we have here is that whenever it's the smallest, and then the next size and the next size whenever you see brackets. So chain 56 is for the 6 months, chain 58 is for the 12 to 18 months, and chain 68 is 2 to 3 years. So you just have to substitute the information whenever you see these brackets. But you'll notice in rows 2 and 3 there is no brackets because it's the same for everybody. So really essentially the only difference is when we start here is that the beginning chain will be different. So we're going to be covering that each and every time, and you can see that there's different measurements too. So the measurements of 10 inches, 11.5, and 12 inches. Again, the small, medium, and large size. So without further ado, we are going to be using Caron Baby Cakes, and let's just take a quick look at that. And you'll need a 5mm size H crochet hook today. So on screen is the Caron Baby Cakes. So it came back out in 2021 in spring. If you remember, the original version was much smaller, so the balls are actually much bigger than they were before. So this is a neat idea, and we are going to be doing this. So this is exclusive only to Michaels.ca, Michaels Canada, and Michaels US in order to find this particular product. So let's grab our crochet hook and let's begin to play. As we start off today, I'm recommending that you just go to the center of the ball and just kind of just reach in and kind of pull it out the center. This is called yarn barf. But you know, it's one of those things, you'll be crocheting that so fast you won't even remember it's there. So we're going to begin, and we're going to start with our chain. So let's begin. Remember, the smallest size is going to be the first number, medium is the second, and the third number is the large. So I'm going to be chaining 56 for the small, 58 if you want medium, and 68 is the large. So just chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You need to go to 56, 58, or 68. I'll see you back here in just a moment. Let's begin row number 1. We're gonna go second chain from the hook, so 1 and 2, turn it over and get the back hump of the chain, and I need you to single crochet into that one. This is called the houndstooth stitch that this whole thing is made up of, so you'll see that it's gonna be a beautiful texture. So if the first one is single, the next one has to be a double crochet in the next chain. So you're gonna alternate between the 2 stitches. So the next one is a single, and then the next one is a double. And I want you to keep alternating. So the next one will be single and double. So in my head I go single, double, but in time you'll stop counting that and just automatically do it without having to really think much about it, and that happens to me. So please do this all the way across, alternating between the 2 stitches. I'm coming all the way across my chain. If your chain is correct in the count, the last stitch here, the last chain, will be a single crochet. So I want you to think about this. When we started, we had a single crochet that started it, we finished with the single crochet. So you're going to notice that there's a commonality every time we begin. So we're gonna turn our work and do rows number 2 and 3, which will be then the repeat for almost the entire pattern really. So let's begin row number 2. Now as I mentioned, the last one is a single crochet here, so that means that the first one out of the gate has to be a double crochet. So chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so just remember that it's a single and a double is sitting over it. This one, do you see how it's kind of squatted? That means that that's a double crochet, so this time it has to be a single. So you started with a double, and then single, and then double, and you keep doing that all the way across. So let's just quickly talk about the differences. So do you see how there's less to this stitch? That means that it's a single, so therefore it has to be a double, just in case you lose your count. And this one, see how it's squatted? So this has to be a single to fill in the spot. Do you see that? Look at it from that perspective. So if you're ever losing your way, so I find with myself just staring at it, I can just tell without really thinking about it. And so you're just gonna continue to go and just alternate between the 2 stitches all the way across. This is row number 2. Please do this. So the last one, if you're correct, will be a double crochet because that's what we started with chaining of the 3. I'll see you at the end of row number 2. So I came all the way across. The very last one is going to be a double crochet, and that's just keeping a count. Now as I turn my work, what I want you to do is that I want you to place in a stitch marker. So all I'm just going to do is just grab a spare piece of yarn, and I want you in this particular front piece is that I just want you just to go up underneath some stitches like this, and just loop this yarn through. And what I'm doing is that I'm marking the right side of the project, so it does matter. So this will keep you in tune with what is the right side and what is the wrong side. So when you're looking at this, this is the right side of the project now, and the other side is the wrong side. Let's begin row number 3. So row number 3, we finished with the double, so therefore we have to start with the chain 1 only and then single crochet in the first, and then the next one has to be a double. So we're gonna alternate back and forth between the 2 stitches all the way to the end. So this will be row number 3, and all we need to do then is to repeat 2 and 3 to a certain amount of dimension. So let me just get all the way across and then we'll quickly talk, and then I'm gonna leave that with you, and then you can speed for you'll in the next part of the tutorial we'll be having that done. So I just have some homework off camera to do before I get there. So just go all the way across row number 3. So now I just finished row number 3. You're going to now alternate between 2 and 3. So you're just gonna go 2, row 3. All the difference is how you're starting it. So therefore we just finished row number 3, so the next time we have to chain 3, make the first one a double crochet and head on all the way back. So you're going to continue to build 2 and 3 until it gets to a certain height. So for the small size it's 10 inches, for the medium size it's 11.5, and for the large size it's 12 inches. Now it says to end on the wrong side, so this is technically row number 3, but I'm looking at the right side when I go to do that. So I need to make sure that when I finish that I'm going to be finishing on the wrong side, because you'll notice in the next part of this project when we go to shape the neck we have to start on the right side. So we have to start here so that the right side is ready to go, and we can tell that by the stitch marker. So please alternate now between rows number 2 and 3 until you get either 10, 11.5 or 12 inches, and I'll see you back here in a few moments. So now I'm back and we're ready to go then for the next part. So in the next part we have the shaping of the neck. So you have 3 different neck sizes, and they're really not that big of a difference between them all. So what we're going to do is that we have to stop on the wrong side, which I did. So when we go to start up, the right side should be facing up, and we're gonna focus on making the shoulder here first, just a partial. We're going to skip over and then eventually do the other side, but we're gonna start with one side first. Remember that this yarn is available in solid colors just in case you don't like the transitioning of colors as well. And sometimes the rollers can actually produce a look that is a little bit darker as it's changing over. So if that bothers you, you can just trim it. So that happened here, so I just trimmed the yarn and I carried on with the new color. So it was just like maybe about 2 inches that it just didn't look right to me, so I just cut it. So that's something that you can decide for yourself. So let's go on to shaping the neck, and the neck is going to be involving a little bit, and so we're going to create these kind of like a strap, and then the other part of the back of the panel is then going to be then added to that. So let's do shaping of the neck first. So as we shape to the neck, you're going to start with the right side facing up. That's RS. It says repeat the pattern. So we're going to carry on the pattern as we know it, and it says repeat the pattern for 20 stitches, 21 or 26, and this is, remember, the sizing. So I'm going to do the smallest size, so you're going to do the other side. Once you do the 20 stitches or 21 or 26, you're going to do half double crochet 2 together, and this is going to be at the neck edge. So it's going to be partially on the way in. And so we're going to then turn the work, and then we're going to begin 2, 3, and then repeat the last 2 rows twice more. And then it says work 1 even row in the pattern, do not fasten off. So we're going to talk about that when we get there, because I am going to fasten off, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Let's begin shaping of the neck. So I'm going to be shaping of the neck, so I'm going to carry out the pattern as I know it. So the last one was the double crochet that went in here, so this one has to be a single. So that I'm going to say that's 1, and then I'm only going to go for 20 stitches. You may have the other sizes depending. So this is 2, oops, and then 3, 4, and 20. So once I have my 20 in, you could have the other sizes. It could be the other sizes. So the next 2 is going to be half double crochet 2 together. So wrap the hook going into the next stitch, pull through, and then go into the next one. So wrap the hook, go into the next one, pull through. So you have 5 loops in the hook, pull through all 5, and that was a half double crochet 2 together, and then you're going to turn your work and then begin row number 2 of shaping on the neck. Let's begin that. So now that we chain 2, that does not count as a stitch, so we have to then put this stitch, the first half double crochet 2 together, and the next one as a together. So wrap the hook going into the top of the first one, pull through, and do the next one, pull through, and then pull through everything and that was a half double crochet, 2 together. Look at the next stitch. You can see that it's a single. It may be a double in your case, but just look at it and put the opposite to what it is. So this is a single, so it has to be a double, and then see the next one is a single. So you'll repeat the pattern as you know it all the way back to the other side, and this is row number 2. Please do this all the way across. So I'm finishing up row number 2. So I just repeated the pattern all the way across. Turn your work. Let's do number 3 together. So number 3, it's the same thing as the pattern, but we're gonna put 2 together half double crochet at the end of that as well. So just in the last 2 stitches those become together. So follow the pattern as you know it. So just chain it 1. The last one here was a double, so this time it's gonna be a single to start, and then a double is next. So I'll meet you at the end of this line. This is a line number 3, and I'll be right back in just a moment. So at the end of number 3 I just got 2 stitches left, and you're gonna put the last 2 together with a 2 with the half double crochet. Okay, and do that, and then you're gonna turn your work, and then we're gonna move on to row number 4 and 5. So it says repeat the last 2 rows once more. So just when you start this one you're gonna chain 2, and you're gonna put the first 2 together with the half double crochet, and then look at the pattern, and you can see this is a single, so it has to start with the double. So just repeat the pattern across, and to go all the way back, turn around, and then come all the way back and do a 2 together when you get back there. So please do rows number 4 and 5 now, and we'll meet back up in just a few seconds from now. So I just finished row number 5. So that says repeat the last 2 rows once. So this is the 5th row. This is the last one. So we're gonna turn our work and do one more row. So we're going to repeat the pattern as we know it. So the first one here I've already chained 1, so chain 2, 3. This one is a double, so I know that has to be a single, and so I'm just repeating the pattern all the way across. And this will be the last row of this side, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna fasten off, and I'm gonna share with you a little tip in order to keep the straps looking the same color. It says to use a secondary ball, but because the ball is bigger than it was in 2019, the balls are bigger, so I would deconstruct the current ball to get the current color that you have going on if you don't have enough yarn. So I would do that, and let's meet back up in just a second. So at the end of this I would fasten this off right here and stop for now. So let's just fasten that, and we can weave that in later. So I want you to turn the project back to the right side, so just look where that stitch marker is, and we're going to begin. Let me just get you back out here. So we're going to begin. This is the right side. So we're going to skip so many stitches and then do the same other side. So the other side will look like a mirror of that. Let's begin that next. So I want to keep this color looking the same so the strap looks like it belongs to each other. I believe that I have enough yarn to make that happen. If I don't, I can see that it's further on down here, so I can deconstruct the ball just to kind of reach through so I can get that color just in case I need to. And what we can do from that is then just continue to go through the cycle of the yarn. So let's just try to see if we have enough, but if not, we can deconstruct the ball, and that's something that I would recommend. So we're going to skip, no matter what size that you are, you're going to skip the next 11 after this piece here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So you're going to skip 11, and you're going to join it to the next stitch. And it says join with the slip stitch to the next stitch. And so we're just gonna slip, and we're going to chain 2, and this stitch that we're in and the next one will be a 2 together half double crochet. Remember that we're doing the mirror, so we have to start with that the first time. So let me try again. And then what we're going to do is look at the pattern and see where we are. So this is a double. We can see that. The next one is a single, so this must be a single that goes in it, and we're just going to repeat the pattern as we know it all the way across. I'll see you at the end of this row. This is technically number 1. So I came across number 1, so we're just gonna mimic what we did before. So we're going to just chain the number that we have, so whatever you had. So this one was a single, so it must be chain 3 this time, and then it's going to be a single in the next. So you're gonna repeat the pattern. The last 2 stitches will be a 2 together half double crochet like we did before, and this will be then row number 2. So I think you know what you're doing at this point, so just go across and make sure that the last 2 stitches going in are 2 together half double crochet. I'll see you there in just a moment. So I just completed row number 2. It's got the half double crochet 2 together at the end. So let's do rows number 3 and 4. It's the same thing as you already know. So you're just gonna chain 2 and then you're just going to put the first 2 together, half double crochet, and then follow the sequence of the yarn. So you can see that this is a single, so it has to be a half. It's possible that you don't have that, so I want you to make sure that you can identify it just in case you need to maintain that. Please do now rows number 3 and 4 the same way. When you come back on 4 you will do the last 2 as a decrease just to keep that going and being the same. I'll see you at the end of number 4 in just a few seconds from now. Okay, we're gonna do row number 5, and so we're just gonna head on back. So just chain up 2 and then just put the first 2 together, half double crochet, and then just look at the next stitch. So this is a single, so it has to be a double, and you're gonna do this all the way across, and then we have one more row to do, and then we're done with this side of the strap. And finally the last row is just going to be just maintaining the pattern just straight across, like just this side of course. And so you're gonna do that. So this is where this side is going to end. I have just finished. I have a little bit more of this color, but I'm going to give you a recommendation when we get there, and I am going to show you what I'm gonna do, and you can decide what's going to work for you. So just maintain the pattern as you know it. There is no decreasing when you get to the middle here, and I'll see you there in just a moment. So this is the end of the line, and I'm going to snip it, and I'm going to let it hold. So if you're right, see how this is on the one side, the other one should be on the same side, so that you know that you're about to start the other side on the back going in the right direction. So turn your work, and we're going to start on the right side, and what we're going to do is that we're gonna start on here, and then we're going to jump on over and connect it, and this will leave then the center hole. So let's take a look at the yarn. I'm almost out of this color, but I don't have that much left, so I'm going to just rip out the remaining of the color that matches here, and I'm gonna immediately start with the next color that's up. And the reason why I'm doing that is that I can start fresh, and therefore this whole line jumping on over will not change midway through, and I'll have it and it will look more balanced. Again, you can decide what's gonna work for you. So as we begin to do the next section, I'm starting with the fresh color. It's a little bit darker than this, and I want to maintain the pattern as I know it. Then here I'm going to chain 17 and jump on over it, and then maintain the pattern as I know it. So all the sizes, chain 17 is the magic number. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to look at the stitch. So it's a double crochet that's in there, so I'm going to start with a single crochet first. So just attach it, chain 1 single in, and then maintain the pattern as I know it. So I'm gonna go all the way across this strap, and then when I'm ready to jump I'll just chain 17, and I'll see you back there in just a moment. So I maintain the pattern as I know it, and now I'm gonna chain 17. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 and 17. Then come to this side and then review the first one coming out. So the first one coming out is a double, so I'm going to make this as a single, and then the next one's a double, and I'm gonna maintain the pattern then all the way to the other side, and we'll meet back here in just a moment. So now just come all the way across, you can see that, and now I'm gonna turn. So the first time across we're going to maintain the pattern as we know it, and we're gonna continue that same pattern on that chain. So the last one was a single for me, so it'll have to be a chain 3 to start for a double, and then a single and double, and I'll see you when we start crossing the chain in just a few seconds. So as I continue to approach the chain, I'm maintaining the pattern right to the end, and then this is a double, so the first one out must be a single and then a double, and I want to keep maintaining that until I get to the other side of the chain, and then we'll be jumping into the other straps. So I'll see you there in just a moment. So I'm coming up to the end of the chain. I'm still maintaining the pattern, and I can make a decision if I have to cheat, and this is where I'm gonna cheat it. So I now have a double in the last one, and you can see that the first one out is a single, so that would be a double on top of that one. So what I would do, just in case this happens to you, I would slam in another single before you get to this one here. Just throw it in somewhere, and honestly nobody's ever gonna notice it unless you say something. Okay, so there, and then I can start with this one here as being a double right out and just maintain the pattern as we know it. So there's always ways to be able to cheat the system if you have to, and now I'll be completely in sync as I continue my journey. So let's get to the end of this row and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So as I get all the way across, what I'm going to do is place another stitch marker. So just use some spare yarn that you have access to, and we're going to just mark it. So we can now fold this thing in half, and we're gonna be able to take a measurement from it later. So just put a place marker right at the end of this, and so this will represent the halfway point when you're going to fold it. So all we need now to do is to repeat exactly what we know, but to go down the other side. So this here will be the fold line. So let me just back you out a little bit. So you're gonna go back and forth on this until this fold line right here that you'll mark with a stitch marker matches the same depth that you have coming down. So you're just gonna maintain the pattern as you know it. Just keep that pattern going, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna meet you there. So it doesn't require you to do a measurement. You just have to keep doing the pattern and being able to fold it, and it will match the same. And I'll see you back here in just a few seconds from now. Now since I last saw you, I just continued to work along the edge and then I went down the back. So remember the placing of the stitch marker, that is about the halfway point. So you're going to just continue along and the sides should match each other. So here we go. So now they're both even. So now I'm going to stop this yarn here and I'm gonna fasten off. I'll show you the fastening off later, but that is officially done. So now I want to continue then to the hood, and we're going to be attaching. Now since I last recorded yesterday, I actually just updated the PDF to be looking like this instead of just the blank papers, and so you'll have the same information that was available to you, and I've added some extra helpful notes for you. Now you'll notice that this child's version here, it looks like it's sewing down the edge. So you can sew down the edge if you don't feel comfortable with buttons, but if you want to do buttons you're just going to apply it. It doesn't say where to put those buttons in the pattern itself, but I would just guess it, and just make sure you leave enough room for arms. And you can just look at a baby sweater if you would like to do that for just a generalization on how far you're gonna do that. So let's begin to move to the hood, and we're gonna start on the right side facing up. So just check that. So here's the right side. So this is actually the other way. And we're going to begin starting the hood. Going around in the flat area is the back, and this is the front, so just keep an eye on that. To start off with, we are going to mark the stitch that is in the middle. So you can either just eye it up, which I'm about to. Remember I believe there was 11 that we skipped. So when you look at it from that perspective, there will be 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and I would just look at it from this perspective of about the middle. Okay, so once you think it's the middle, then you're just going to place a stitch marker. So just grabbing some spare yarn or a stitch marker. I tend to lose those plastic things, so I don't use those very often. And this is going to be the center of there, and the hood is going to grow all the way around. So we're gonna talk about the hood because the hood actually has to have an odd number the first time around. Let's talk about that. When we have the hood, we're going to have the right side facing up, so I've already turned that, and this here where it is, we're going to slip stitch into this, and we need to count. So for the smallest size it's going to be around 51 stitches all the way around. The medium size is also 51 stitches, and the large size is 55. Here's the trick to it. It has to be an odd number. So even if you added more to it, as long as it's still an odd number, it'll work, because the pattern of what we have here will then pick up based on that. And so if it's an even number, you won't be able to repeat this pattern that easily. So make sure it's an odd number. So we're going to attach the new yarn where we want it to go, and we're going to attach that with a slip stitch. Okay. And then starting in the next one. So this one is not going to count as one of the pieces around or one of the stitches, and just equally spacing single crochets just going all the way around. So you have to count them. So 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. So either get 51 around, 55, and if all else fails, make sure it's an odd number. Now I've just come all the way around. I actually have 51 in there, shockingly enough, and I actually put I had 50, and right where the stitch marker is I needed one more stitch, so I just put one in there just in case you're watching me that carefully. So if I cheat the system, you know I am. So I want you now to grab another stitch marker, and we're gonna eye up the back and go about the even mark right there. So every fourth row starting in the next row is that we're going to do an increase, so you have to move this stitch marker up when you're going to play with this concept. Okay, so we're gonna turn our work and do the next row, and the next row is exactly what we've always been doing. We're going to be repeating that pattern that we know it to be. So just turning your work, and you're going to start off, and it says to start off with a single crochet. So chain up one first, and then you're going to single crochet and then double, and then single crochet and double. So when we get to that stitch marker, we're going to place in 2 extra stitches for growth, and I'll see you there in a moment. So I'm coming close to the stitch marker and maintaining the pattern as I know it. So when we put in the increase, we are going to match the stitches as you know it. So there's gonna be a single here, so that one here has to be a double to start, and then a single into there to keep that stitch pattern going perfectly. So on the other side of that, then you see how we put in a double first, so this one should be a double. Okay, so you're just maintaining that pattern as you know it. So every fourth row, so this one here and then the fourth row from here, we're going to be placing in an increase. I'd recommend to you at this time is that just move that stitch marker up so that you can physically see it next time, and then every fourth one, that's where you're going to do the increase and continue around, and I'll talk to you a little bit more in a second. So coming all the way around, the last one should be a single crochet because we started off with a single crochet and we just turn our work. So the next 3 rows are just the pattern as you already know it, and then the fourth one we're going to do the increase just like you did on the back here. So we just have to continue to repeat that until the hood measures a total of 8 inches tall. For the small version, 8.5 for the medium, and then 9 inches for the top, and then that's where you're gonna end. So just remember every fourth row you just have to increase. So I don't need to take you through that at this point. You're just gonna go and start at this moment. You'll do 3 rows of just the pattern, and then the fourth row is an increase, and then you'll continue along, and then every fourth row you'll do that increase until you get to the height. So either 8, 8.5 or 9 inches. And when I come back I'll have that done for you, and then we'll just cover on how to secure the top of the hood. I want to explain the increase just before I let you go. So I've already actually done the hood. So what I realized is that when I started and I did the increase right in the very beginning and we've had it marked, I just immediately just did the increase on the back. But the increase is actually done over 2 stitches, not 1. So and the reason for that is once we establish this pattern, we need to have the increase over 2 stitches. So watch how it happens. So the next one you see, it's a single crochet. So we're going to double crochet and then single into the same one, and the next one here you see that it is a double crochet already here, but we want to maintain what this is. So we're going to double crochet first and then single, and therefore when you come out of those 2 stitches you're ready with that same pattern once again. Did you get that? So let me just review that once again. So if it was a single that's here, you're going to start with a double and then put a single into the same one to maintain the pattern. And so the next one here, this was a single, so it has to start with the double and then a single, and therefore that will put you in line. Then the next one is a double coming out and you start over again. So the increase is actually technically over 2 stitches. So just make sure you keep an eye on that. So eventually you're gonna come to the very top of the hood, which is where I am right now, and I realized I didn't explain that, so that's why we're doing this kind of outtake afterward. So I've now just come to the top of the hood, and it will look like it's splaying out like this because it's supposed to be, because you've been increasing every fourth row on the back. So you can see that it has more of a shape like this to it, which it should. So this is going to be the last stitch. I've already done it, so I've already taken my measurement, so I'm just gonna pull this through. So what I'm going to do then is that I'm going to match stitch to stitch as we're going across, and you're going to need a tapestry needle for this. and you want to come to the opposite side. So the best way to do this is to come in and just grab the one loop only on the one side and the one loop only on the other. This is called a whip stitch, and this will do a nice join. So you're gonna move to the next stitch on the back loop only and the next one here. So keep it sandwiched together and working through the back loops all the way to the back of the hood. So you can do that now, and I'll see you at the end of this section in just a moment. So I'm coming near to the end of the back of the hood area, matching stitch to stitch, and I'm gonna show you how to weave in the ends just in case that's something you don't know yet. So I'm coming to the very last one. Good. So now I'm going to just go through here and just make sure that this knots onto itself. Okay. And then I'm going to take this yarn and then I'm gonna drag it underneath the stitch work. Just have it pop out somewhere else. Okay, and then back through, slightly different path, back in the opposite direction, and then one more time. So you want to do that a total of 3 times, and therefore this should never ever fall out on you. Any loose ends that you have on this project, you're going to want to do the same thing, including that starting chain that you had and any other color changes that you might have applied to this, including into the shoulder. So you can remove all your stitch markers. You're technically done, but we're going to just fasten in the sides, and we still have the sleeves spaces to make, and that's what we're gonna do next. So I still had my stitch marker in here when that fold was done in half, so that I knew where it was going to go. So I want to make sure that I'm gonna fold this now so that it is exactly in half. And so I'm gonna take a measurement down, and I want to be consistent. Sorry, I just banged my head on the camera. And I want to be consistent with leaving enough space for the arms. So I'm gonna do about 4 inches. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna leave a stitch marker for myself. And when I do the stitch marker, I'm going to place it through both of the panels. And what you can do is that you can put this in, tie it into a bow tie. So if you have a child that you want to test it on to make sure that the arms are gonna work, that's up to you. There is no information on how big this hole should be, so I'm guessing that's about 4 inches. So then I'm gonna take it and do the other side. And if you follow it across, you can kind of see that it's the same spot. And then place the other stitch marker on the other side. And now we're going to use those stitch markers to our advantage and do the next part where we're going to seal in the sides. And if you want to use buttons, you can do that, but if you're not feeling safe with buttons, you can do that, or you can whip stitch it together, or sorry, you're going to crochet it together. And if you want to crochet it together and still do buttons, that's up to you. So we're gonna grab our yarn and we're going to work our way through this. So I'm now going to make sure that I have this correct. So the one side I have to travel from the bottom going all the way to the marker, and so this is the hood facing forward, so I want the good side of the stitch to face out, and then on the other side I have to go from the stitch marker down. You're going to want to make sure that these stitch markers are definitely in the right spot before you do this, and now's the time to change it just in case you've done something wrong. So let's attach the two sides together. So we're gonna equally space single crochet along the edge, and I used a different color intentionally so that it was a nice fresh color. I want both of the sides to look identical with the same coloring. So again, I deconstructed the ball in order to make that happen. So going through one side and the other, you're just going to single crochet this together. Okay, and then you're just gonna go in. I would go right up over top of that straggler and equally space your single crochets in. So take your time. If you're too slow, it'll buckle, like creating a ruffle, and if you're too fast, it will look like it's being condensed too quickly. So just equally space this out, and then I'll be back at the top. So my ending point is the stitch marker that's been marked. So I came all the way to the other side. It's laying flat, everything's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna create an extra long tail, and like I showed you before, just throw this through a tapestry needle and glide it underneath the stitch. Don't stay to the outside. Underneath, back and forth a total of 3 times, and then that can be hidden. You're going to start the other side then, and you're gonna start from the stitch marker going down, and this will keep the right side also facing up, and we'll be doing that next. I don't need to show you, just start at the stitch marker and single crochet equally down the other side. So here's the baby poncho done up on the side. You could have sewed it together if you wanted to as well. So here is the back. Oops, there's a tail. I did weave it in, I just forgot to trim it. And so this is what the back looks like. You can see that the hood is permanently part of it, and so if the baby wants to have it down, or you pretty much can decide that for the child, or if you want to leave it up, that's up to you. And this is the hooded baby poncho. Have a good day, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.